Hello, this is ChatFCS. Today we are joined by Hesham Mohamed, a research intern at the Center of Biomedical Research and Technology at the Faculty of Computer Science. Good day, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You received your bachelor's degree in Pakistan and got master's in ICML University in St. Petersburg.
And I did my bachelor's in mechatronics engineering, and it's a program with a component like a little bit of computer science, mechanical engineering, and electrical engineering. And I was not a very good student during my bachelor's, but during the later years, I studied again all of the things: mathematics, statistics, programming. And then I applied for masters. I was applying for masters. I didn't know where to go. I thought, oh, maybe I'm not a good student of science. Maybe I should do business administration or something. But then I thought, okay, I should give one more try at science. And then I was thinking about the programs, and I found ICML University, and they had some program about physics and these things. Not only it's not like a completely biology. And I thought, okay, so we can try this area. It was during the coronavirus at the time of 2020 when I started, and there were travel restrictions. But I started the program, and at that point I didn't know about machine learning, and I came to know about it in the first semester at ICML, and I started learning machine learning with the at that point we had scikit-learn, and I studied mathematics. And then during my second year, I had to have a project for thesis. And I said, I don't know biology as much, so if you can make some project about machine learning, I will be interested. And they connected with some guy with a German supervisor. He was working for Continental AG, some car company. And he said, okay, we can work on some car recognizing system, something like that, some image recognition for the streets. And it was not connected to biology at all. It was just a complete machine learning project. I said, okay, and I worked with him on the generative models with GANs and generative adversarial networks to develop some images that we can use to augment the image recognition system, right? So it's a data augmentation using the generative adversarial networks. So at that point, I learned about generative models. It was before ChatGPT, and then I did it in 2022. And at the end of 2022, I think they released the ChatGPT, the first version. And at that point, the generative models were really popular. But I entered before they were popular. And after that, I went back to Pakistan. I worked for a few months in a company, and they kicked me out. I worked as a machine learning engineer, and they kicked me out for I don't know, it was my fault or their fault or for some other fault, and they kicked me out. I thought, I'm not good at a company. I should do research. So then I started applying for PhD, and I applied for HSC. I was admitted to some other university in Malaysia also, but I continued here. And then I came here and I started to look for supervisors, and I met Maria Poptsova, was my supervisor in genetics, and she said, we are working with generative models for the DNA data, for biological data, and you can come with us and you can use your generative model skills for the in this area. So I said, okay. And we started working. I started in 2024 and in November, and at that point I read some papers, I studied a lot of things, and then I thought, okay. And then we are working on this DNA sequence design using flow matching, diffusion models, GFlowNets, and it's not a very linear trajectory. It's a lots of things happening here and there.
Why did you choose Russia particularly to pursue your career in education?
Well, for PhD, because I did not have a paper in my master's, if I wanted to apply for USA or something, they usually ask me for papers, and I didn't have publications. So here I applied, and they can accept you without publications. I thought that's good, and because I came here before, and I thought I liked the country. I was in St. Petersburg before, but I liked the opportunity, and I came here, and yeah.
What was the decisive factor for you to choose the Faculty of Computer Science and the Center of Biomedical Research particularly?
Well, computer science was my field. There was no chance for me to go to any other faculty because I wanted to work on generative models and machine learning. So it was very natural for me to continue at the computer science faculty. But about choosing biomedical, because I did masters in biomedical, that was also in my mind that I can continue using the generative model skills in the bioinformatics center, and that's how it continued.
How did AI and working on it, machine learning, added up to your interests after biology already being here?
When I started my masters, I learned I didn't know machine learning before my masters, and I was not very interested in biology. My field was in robotics. I learned both of them during my master at the same time, a little bit, more of machine learning, a little bit of biology, but it started like concurrently. Well, when you are in science, you cannot say that I want to choose this and not this. You have to be open with your mind and try the things, and maybe you can develop new interests, and you have some projects where you need to know something. Maybe you are a computer science guy, but you need to know some electronics for some research, or you need to know some mechanics. You are developing some robot. You cannot you have to know material science or these things, and you have to be curious about things, and and you have to learn some new things.
So this is also science that you are in, which is deciding what are you going to study, and not just you.
You have some project, but it's not completely in your area. It's a little bit different, because and you have this project because it has a grant or it has something, and they select you, so you have to learn some new things, even if you are not very comfortable with them. It's part of your job.
What research directions or projects at the Center of Biomedical Research have been the most somehow unexpected or interesting for you so far?
I wouldn't say they are unexpected, because I know the area, but there are some difficulties for me when I have to learn about the biology of the DNA, or we have like a different the way it functions. That's sometimes a little bit complicated, but not very complicated. And we work on different projects. We have different generative models. I don't know if you know about generative models. They are like diffusion models, flow matching models, GFlowNets, and we submitted a paper on discrete flow matching for a workshop, not a full conference at ICLR, and and we are now working with HDI lab, high dimensional inference, and we are working on GFlowNets. The GFlowNets is a reinforcement learning generative model. It's a new for me. I have not worked with reinforcement learning based generative models before. Now we are trying to work with it, and we have a seminar today with Sergey Samsonov. Let's see how it goes, but it's a new area for me, and let's see. It's interesting.
Considering your work previously, you mentioned your mentors, and one of the most important aspects of academic life is support from colleagues, mentors as well.
Yeah.
Have there been any research supervisors or colleagues who helped you integrate into research and life in Russia?
Yes, for research, I think it's mostly Maria. She has helped me a lot with understanding the biology and connecting with other people, and with the students, and and she has helped me a lot in this area. I was not a researcher. Well, I was in science, but I was not a researcher, and she helped me a lot in integrating in Russia. Yeah, I know there were people in my dorm. I live in a PhD dorm, and we have some colleagues, and they help me a lot. One is David from Colombia, and one is Paul. He's now left. He's also from Bangladesh, and these guys, they knew Russian. I don't know Russian, and they helped me in the beginning, initially, and to set up everything. Yeah, but now I'm like a little bit integrated. I don't need much help, but previously, David and Poe and others, they helped me a little bit. Yeah.
And what was the biggest cultural shock, and what was the most, at the same time, pleasant discovery in Russia?
Well, it was I first came here in 2022, so it was during masters. So there was no cultural shock for me. When I came here in 2022, also there was no cultural shock for me at the time, also, because I knew the situation, how the things go. For most part, there are some things like there's a lot of paperwork for everything. They give you a lot of paper and sign it, and do this and give it to somebody, So that was a little bit different for me. We in Pakistan we don't have so much paperwork to give everywhere, and then there's the weather. The weather was very cold. That was a problem for me. I came from the in St. Petersburg. I came outside. It was like very cold, and my feet are cold. My everything is cold. And then I buy some clothes. Yeah, that was and then in St. Petersburg they have very old buildings compared to Moscow. Even I think some 18th century buildings and some such, and that's very different because such old, we in Pakistan we don't have such old buildings like 100 years old or 150 years old, but in St. Petersburg they have a lot of such buildings. Well, in terms of city, I think it's very good, very clean. Metro stations are very good. In St. Petersburg, the metro stations are a little bit smaller compared to Moscow ones, and it's not as crowded here. They are very crowded sometimes, but they are bigger. But I like the metro station, and the public transport is overall, I think, very good in Moscow. Also in St. Petersburg, but St. Petersburg is a smaller city, so it's not a big problem. But here they have a very good public transport, and I like it.
How do you cope with language barrier? Maybe you use Russian in everyday life.
No, the language barrier. Sometimes I have some problem, but not much. If I'm going on a street, somebody stops me and asks me, "Oh, where is this?" I don't know. And sometimes a little bit, but usually I'm in the lab. So most of the time I spend my waking hours in the lab. So there I don't have any language barrier. But on the streets maybe, yeah, sometimes. But it's only a barrier for them, not for me. I don't really need anything from them. I just go buy some groceries and other things. But mostly it's fine. If I go to some government office or something, I use my app, and I translate, and they don't mind most of the time. They're very friendly people, and yeah, in any government office you go, it works well for me for now. Yeah.
Have you managed to find friends among colleagues or among Russian ones and international ones?
Yeah. I have friends from the dorm also, and in our lab, in our program. Yeah, Russian and international.
What places in Moscow or at the university have become your anchor points, where you relax, think, or maybe dream of something?
I go to some different places. Like sometimes I go to Vdinka, and sometimes in the Red Square, and I just take a walk around the park. Or sometimes I just take a walk around for 3 or 4 kilometers on Saturday or Sunday in some park. Yeah, mostly around, I think, Kremlin area. I like that area. I just take a long walk.
Please tell us about your current projects. One of them is the collaboration with Sergey Samsonov, working on GFlowNets.
Yeah.
What excites you most about this project?
Well, this is it's a new project. We have recently started it, and it was not a smooth sailing for me. I asked him to change the project to make somewhere else. He was very insistent on GFlowNets because that's his specialization. I have previously worked with diffusion models and flow matching models. So we have in generating models, we have different approaches for generating DNS, generating any kind of an object. You can generate a DNA sequence or text or image or molecule or some 3D thing, and you have a different generative approaches. One is like a maximum likelihood, where you train the model to learn the probability distribution of the. I don't know if it's comfortable for you to.
Yeah, I get what you're talking
Okay,
about.
so we have learned the probability distribution of the data. So we have like let's say that we have the images of cats and dogs. We train the generative model so that it will learn from the data. From the data, it will learn how a cat looks like or how a dog looks like. And it can be unsupervised, so you don't need any labels. You only have images of cats or images of dogs. That's all you have. And the model learns the distribution of this data, the cats and dogs. And when it has learned, you have to, well, one thing is learning the distribution, and the other thing is sampling. You can learn the distribution, but after that you have to find a way to sample from it, and that's another problem. So after you have learned this distribution of cats and dogs, you have to sample from it, and when you sample, it will give you some image like a cat or a dog. So that's learning from the data. You have the data and you train the model, and you can do it with different models. Like you have generative adversarial networks, you have VAEs, you have autoregressive models, you have diffusion models, flow matching models, some other Boltzmann machine, and they learn from the data. And other approaches like the reinforcement learning, and that's from the GFlowNets is based on reinforcement learning, where you don't learn from the data, you don't need any data, you only have a reward function, and the model generates some image. Let's say you have some kind of a classifier, and you have some generative model. Generative models generate some image, some random image in the space of the images, right? So it generates some image, and you have a classifier. It's a trained classifier, a good classifier, and the classifier will give a score for this generated image, whether it's a good cat or not, right? So let's say that it gives a bad score. Okay, so the model will get the signal from this classifier and try to generate some other image that may get another score, better score, right? So it model just randomly, not randomly, but it tries to learn what kind of images will get a good score from the classifier, right? So it does not have any data. It just learns to get high score. It learns to generate some image that will get a high score from the classifier. So in that way it tries to generate the new images. So gradually it may learn the kind of images that will get a good score from a classifier, and that will be the generated images, but it does not need any data. So that's a reinforcement learning based approach, and it works better for smaller sequences. Let's say that you have a maybe 15 base pair or 18 base pair sequence, it will work better. But if you have like a very big high dimensional image, or like an image, or like an audio, or maybe like a 10,000 base pair sequence, it's very hard for this reinforcement learning to work. You don't have any data, and you iterate through this in this very large space. It becomes very hard. So that's the problem with it. It's a different approach, GFlowNets. I have not worked with it before, but now let's see what we can do with it.
What inspired you to start this project?
Which one, GFlowNets?
Yes.
Like I told you, there. I know one thing in science you have to do all these things, and if I'm working with generative models, I have to learn all of the new techniques and tricks and whatever algorithms they build, and it's part of my job. I wouldn't say there was something. Oh, I love GFlowNets. No such thing.
We'd like to congratulate you with getting your paper accepted at an ICLR workshop.
Thank you.
What is this work about, and what is your next scientific goal?
This work where they published, it was on discrete flow matching for DNA sequence design, specifically for promoters and enhancers. So promoters are some sequence that will some part of a DNA that will activate some gene. So if any gene has to be activated, or what's it called in biology, to be expressed, it needs to send the message through mRNA to the ribosome, where the protein is generated. You get the message from the gene, message is transcribed through mRNA into the ribosome, and the ribosome generates some protein based on this message from the DNA, and this protein will perform the biological functions. And this gene, the activity of the transcription activity, how much the gene is expressed, is determined by some other sequence like a promoter or enhancer. And from the name you can see promoter, right? It promotes something. So what it promotes is the transcription activity of a gene. And in our paper we try to generate promoter sequences based on the transcription activity. So it's a conditional generation. You have some signal, and you want to generate a promoter based on this transcription signal. If it's like a high signal, you have to generate some sequence that will have a high transcription activity in the cell, and that was a promoter. And then we have enhancer. So it's a different data set. It performs some similar functions, and we used it with discrete flow matching. There were previous papers they used like other papers, like they have like a Dirichlet flow matching, Dirichlet diffusion, Fisher flow matching, But our approach was discrete flow matching. It was not developed by me, it was developed by Meta people, the Facebook people. And we changed some things, and we wanted to see how it performs for the DNA sequence design. And for the Meta guys, they tried it on text and images. So we thought we should try it on DNA, and it had good results. It performed better for promoter design. Yeah, so it was accepted for ICL workshop. Yeah, that was good. But we didn't go. It was in Rio. It was quite far away. And yeah, but we sent it to somebody else, and we sent a PDF, and he printed it and pasted it on the wall at ICLR.
What is your next goal?
We submitted another paper for ICML, and yesterday we came to know, the day before yesterday, it was rejected. And it was my collaboration with another guy, with another student. He's a third year bachelor student, Vladimir. And we submitted a paper, it was rejected. And now we have another submission at some other paper, scientific reports, let's see. And we have to write other papers. So my goal at the point is only to to do good research and to write some more papers. And yeah, that's all I can say. I don't have any long-term plan. I don't have, but we have some projects with Sergey, with GFlowNets, with Itmo University on the DNA design, and we started some new project with China, but I don't know. So yeah, I hope these projects go well. So that's the goal, to write some papers on them and do good research.
Tell us a bit more about spending your free time. How do you do it?
Free time usually, well, on the weekday, on the work days, I usually like watch some TV show or read some like some things about philosophy or something.
Well, I'm just starting off, but I'm sure there are plenty of our listeners would be glad if you could share it with us.
The philosophy, when you study philosophy, you have to think about what is the purpose of doing philosophy, or being interested in philosophy. Why do you want to learn philosophy? And that's the one thing. And you want to know the nature of truth, but not the truth out there. You want to know the truth inside. So you want to know the truth about yourself, about how you are and how the world is. It's a kind of an integrated system. In science, you only look at the object. So this is the object, this is the object, this is the material, how it works, the kind of a mechanistic way. And the philosophy is more like the science is a part of a philosophy. It was a part of a philosophy, but then it separated in the 16th, 17th century, where the philosophy looks at the whole. So you want to study the whole. That's the part. That's the philosophy. And I think if you want to start, it's better to start with logic, with some basic course you can find on internet, like what is inductive reasoning, what is deductive reasoning, and something like that. And after that, maybe it's better to start with Aristotle or Plato from the Greeks, because the foundation of the philosophy is built by the Greeks. And after that, other people came, and they always refer back to the Greeks. And they are always in discussion. The philosophers are always in discussion with the previous guys who came before them, and they say, okay, he said this and I said this. But it's if you want to study philosophy, you have to start from Plato and Aristotle. What were their problems? What were they thinking? What was the beginning of the philosophy? The kind of the big questions that they thought about. And after that, you can go from the downstream. You can if you're on YouTube, if you go to YouTube, you can watch some lectures by Harvey Mansfield. He's a philosopher at Harvard in 1995, I think, at this point. But he's a very good and you can watch some lectures by Harvey Mansfield. Or about reading, there are many things you can read. But I would think it should start from logic. Yeah.
Okay, I'm starting tomorrow. Thank you.
And it's also like you read philosophy, but you also need to read history also. And you have to the ideas, how they influence the history, how the history influence the philosophy, the history of science, history of philosophy. These things are also very interesting for me.
How do you see your career in 5 to 10 years?
I do see myself as a AI researcher mainly. Writing papers, working with people, other smart guys, colleagues, students, and I want to teach also, maybe sometimes as the time allows. But I see myself as an AI researcher for most part in working with generative models. But maybe like in the field, you have to be a little bit flexible, as I have said before, if you're in science. So maybe they have something new, some new kind of algorithms or some new research, so you have to adopt to the new area, and you cannot say that, oh no, I will work on this the whole my whole life. And like a surgeon, or let's say they're like you are a doctor or a lawyer, you don't need to learn new things. You learn one thing and you do it for the rest of your life, right? The laws does not change. Maybe a little bit they'll change, maybe a little bit, but most of the time the law book or whatever, they are the same through your life. It will be the same. How the laws are applied in the courts will be the same. They work the same way. But in science, especially now in AI, things can change very quickly, and you have to be flexible. You have to always be learning new things. So different from most fields in this area. So you cannot say I will be only do this in 10 years, nothing else. You have to be flexible and adopt.
And for now,
Mhm.
can you name your main achievements while in Russia?
Well, I would say that one achievement is publishing paper, and one achievement is being rejected at paper. But I would say that I'm happy with that we started with the project at Itmo University, with the DN design, and with GFlowNets, and we have other papers under review. I'm happy with these achievements, and I hope these projects go well.
What advice would you give to future international researchers who are planning to apply for master's or PhD's programs in Russia?
I cannot give advice for other programs that are outside of computer science. I can only talk about computer science faculty. So here I think we have a very good faculty, and we have very smart people, and very collaborative and very understanding. Before coming here, you need to think about what kind of research you want to do, uh, because it's a very fast paced, and during the first 2 years you already need to write few papers and should be under review. Like one paper should be published and one paper should be under review after the 2 years. So it's a very fast pace. If you come here without any idea, it will be hard for you. So have some ideas before, do some research before coming. And if you have started, let's say you are admitted in February and you come in November, during this time don't be free. You have to work, you have to study, and you have to get some ideas about what you want to do. And when you come here, just start working. Don't waste your time. Just start working from the day one, and work hard. And that's my advice.
That's a really inspirational advice. Now we are moving to a traditional speed round. Just say the first thing that comes into your head. Are you ready?
Okay.
What book are you currently reading?
Being in time.
What is your favorite music genre?
Pop.
What is your favorite city? Not just for work, but in general.
Moscow.
What is your favorite activity after a long working day?
Watching TV shows.
Name one thing you cannot live without.
Shoes.
What is your favorite dish from home?
Biryani.
What is your idea of happiness?
Wisdom.
And the final question. What does the Faculty of Computer Science mean to you personally?
Before coming here, I was not a scientist, and after coming here, I've developed my understanding of science, and I've realized that I can be a scientist, and I can do good work, and it has developed confidence in me to become to do good research, and I think it has meant a lot for me in terms of my personal and professional life.
Hasham, thank you very much for coming, sharing your thoughts, experience, and future plans. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.